Hey guys, Buffing Game Bat today, bringing you a video, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that I think a lot of people are kind of missing here for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and that is whether or not Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, DMZ, the whole bundle there, we're just going to refer to as Modern Warfare 2 right now, if there's going to be, or if there is, an identity crisis right now. Now, a lot of this information that we're going to be speculating here is based off of leaks, so obviously take that with a grain of salt. We really don't know, but a lot of these game modes we do know for a fact are coming. And some other things here that we'll discuss again are coming from leaks. So we'll have to see. Now, again, really quick, I do co-host a podcast with Crash Games FPS. I'll link his channel down below. We do host the podcast called The Scope, and we post that up on its own dedicated channel. I'll link that down below. We have a really good podcast on Monday night. We go live every Monday. And we'll be posting some clips. But on Monday's podcast, we got into this topic that I'm be covering today. So that clip will be up, or you can watch the VOD from that podcast where him and I will go back and forth and have a really good discussion on it. But I want to kind of cover it here because it is a really important conversation that I don't think a lot of people are having. And that is Modern Warfare 2 having an identity crisis? So right now, the state of Call of Duty currently with Modern Warfare, Vanguard, Cold War, and Warzone is definitely, I would say, probably at a very low point. Vanguard and Cold War were not received too well, specifically Vanguard. The integrations from Cold War into Warzone as well as Vanguard into Warzone, in my personal opinion, were a huge mistake and really ruined the game for the most part, as well as getting away from the Verdansk map or moving into Caldera. The things that were produced after the fact weren't very good. Whereas when Warzone started, we had a very specific type of battle royale, and that changed, in my opinion, for the worse. As well as with Modern Warfare's multiplayer, we saw a lot of different modes and different things like that for the core 6v6. We had Realism Mosh Pit, we had Ground War. So really what's happening now is Modern Warfare 2, we have a lot of different modes that have been teased to try and cater to fans of every type of FPS shooter out there. So right now we're going to have with Modern Warfare 2, we're going to obviously have the core Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, the 6v6, and some of the other core throwback modes, which is going to obviously be appealing for the long-time fan base. And I'm assuming that's going to have obviously your quick movement, slide canceling, quick switching, things like that, no scoping, 360. That's going to be the modes where you would want to do all of that. And this is where we kind of get into theory crafting. We did have Reality UK. I'll link his channel down below. Leaked a bunch of the game modes, which he found over in the Warzone mobile alpha that took place, as well as a bunch of other leaks. And we've also heard these modes mentioned by Rouse Valve as well. I'll link him down below, also his Twitter account. Now, a lot of these different modes we're going to start with, obviously, we'll have the core multiplayer aspect of Modern Warfare 2 to cater to the long-time core Call of Duty fan base. We're also most likely, although I haven't heard this confirmed yet, but I'm assuming they're going to bring back the realism mode. Now, that's obviously your more tactical shooter crowd they were trying to bring in with Modern Warfare 2019. And for me personally, that's the only way I played Modern Warfare 19's multiplayer. Realism mode was my favorite way to play that mode. However, we did see an issue there. The movement mechanics in Realism were still the exact same as they were in core multiplayer, as far as the fast, twitchy type movements, slide canceling, things like that with weapon balance. So we see an issue there as to how the realism mode in Modern Warfare 2019 was trying to cater towards that more hardcore realism type immersive shooter crowd, and it didn't bring the components that type of game would typically had. Instead, it just was a modified version of the core multiplayer experience. Then we also had Ground War in Modern Warfare 2019, and that was also, again, trying to cater to the Battlefield crowd with the Conquest game mode from Battlefield. Battlefield at the time was at a lull, still is at a lull, but coming off of Battlefield 5, they were in between titles. The Battlefield fans were and still are pretty disgruntled and needed a Battlefield experience. So Ground War was the attempt to bring in the Battlefield players. Now, obviously, here with Modern Warfare 2, they're going to want to do the exact same thing. So if we look at things like we talked about, the core multiplayer experience for Modern Warfare 2, most likely we'll see realism return to try and cater to that more realism crowd yet again. Then we're going to have things like Ground War returning and Ground War Bomb. Now, first off, Ground War returning. Here we are with Battlefield 2042 just came out. Big flop, obviously. I would go on a limb here and pretty confidently say that 99% of all Battlefield fans are disappointed with that title. So Infinity Ward with Modern Warfare 2 is going to want to, again, create an experience that will cater to the Battlefield crowd. So Ground War will hopefully be that Battlefield type experience for the Conquest, and then they have another mode, Ground War Bomb, and this kind of sounds like Crash and I talked about on the scope. This sounds like Rush. So if you're not familiar with Rush from the old Battlefield games, basically Ground War Bomb, this is what it sounds like, is you would have like MCOMs, or in this case what would be bombs, one or two across the map. The attackers would need to obviously defuse that in order to unlock the second half of the map. So the map would be broken into sections, and you would need to, attackers, defenders, defuse the two bombs, and then the other bomb site on the other part of the map would unlock, and the attackers would need to push there, defuse those, and then keep moving progressively around the map. So it sounds like, and then again, that's just theorycraft. We don't have a description of the mode, but Ground War Bomb, that's kind of what it sounds like as a rush mode is what I would say. So Ground War Bomb, that's your Battlefield crowd right there is what they're going to be catering to. And when we talk about this, we also look at, obviously we have Warzone 2, and then we have DMZ apparently coming at some point. DMZ is going to be catering to that Tarkov type crowd. Again, more realistic shooter fan base. The Escape from Tarkov crowd, the Extraction game mode crowd, more hardcore shooter. Doesn't need to be milsim, but again, more hardcore fan base. Then we also have the hostage rescue mode, which is supposedly for multiplayer. And again, this sounds exactly like Rainbow Six Siege. So here's the problem with the identity crisis, with Modern Warfare 2 trying to cater to every single fan base out there in the first-person shooter genre for, I guess, modern era, with encompassing all of these games into one, trying to cater to everyone in order to have sales and obviously have the best-selling Call of Duty title, as well as probably the best-selling game of the year in 2022. The question is there an identity crisis where we see the same issues from Modern Warfare 2019, where it's just a refined version of those game modes? Because if we look at Warzone right now, Warzone, in my opinion, it plays too twitchy, too fast-paced, things like that. So if we see that with DMZ, how are they going to cater to these fan bases, like the Tarkov fan base for DMZ, the Rainbow Six fan base for Hostage Rescue? So in my opinion, basically, there's a question here, how they're going to pull this off. Are they going to be able to refine each game mode to the experience that they're trying to replicate? So obviously Core v Core, or Core 6v6, and the other game modes for standard multiplayer for Modern Warfare 2 would play like a typical Call of Duty title. The Hostage Rescue game modes should play more like a slower paced Rainbow Six Siege type game. And to do that, they would need to obviously kind of split the game up into different branches for each mode, so they can have, essentially, not getting too deep into the code, but different like environment variables per mode that can be tweaked based on the mode. So the Hostage Rescue mode, what should change there? Obviously, movement should change. It should be more slower paced. Damage model should probably be up a little bit, and things that you would expect from a Rainbow Six game, right? If you're going to attract the Rainbow Six crowd, it needs to play more along the lines of Rainbow Six versus core, old school, twitchy, or at least the current era of Call of Duty, which is very fast-paced and twitchy. If you go back to like the throwback days where it was the original COD 1, 2, even COD 4, and the original Modern Warfare 2, you didn't have slide cancel or anything like that. You had bunny hopping and dolphin diving and things like that. But again, if they're going to cater to the Rainbow Six crowd, that game mode needs to play and feel more like Rainbow Six Siege, right? And then obviously with Ground War and Ground War Bomb, which could potentially be a rush mode, that's going to need to play like Battlefield's Rush and Conquest. And to do that, an issue with Ground War in Modern Warfare 2019 is that there were kill streaks. And for me personally, I think that took me out of that experience. I'm at my heart a Battlefield fan. Ashamed to kind of to say it today, but at my heart of hearts, I've always preferred Battlefield over Call of Duty for the most part. Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 4 will forever be my favorite games of all time, even Battlefield 2. But in order to, again, appeal to that Battlefield crowd, are they going to remove kill streaks from these Ground War modes? Because Ground War I thought was very, very fun in Modern Warfare 2019. That's what really one of the things that really I was excited for, and one of the core modes I played for the most part, besides realism. But the kill streaks definitely took you out of it. Obviously, you get on good runs. You have airstrikes going on. You have attack helicopters, AC-130s, Harriers, which at the time were early days of Ground War For some maps, we're shooting through buildings, so you weren't even safe on cover. Definitely not a great attempt to replicate the Battlefield Conquest experience. So with Ground War Bomb and Ground War for Modern Warfare 2, again, will they refine the mechanics, the gameplay mechanics a little bit? Will they remove kill streaks, which I know from a lot of the Battlefield crowd that played Ground War and Modern Warfare 2019, one of the criticisms was the kill streaks. And like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of them. I think it would have played much better without the kill streaks and refined vehicle movement. We do know there's more vehicles coming to the game for Modern Warfare 2 that have been leaked. So will they, again, remove kill streaks from Ground War and Ground War Bomb? And will they refine that experience so the movement may be a little bit more Battlefield-esque, like they would have to do with this hostage rescue scene? Then we look at Warzone 2. Warzone 2, again, that's a tough one because Warzone initially, early 2020, played very, very, very differently than it does today. So how are they going to refine that experience? It depends on where they want to go with this. If they want to continue the trend they have with current day Warzone and just reset everything with Modern Warfare 2 and a lot of the movements and the mechanics would be similar, so be it. But then you're going to have DMZ. And again, this is supposedly an extraction style game mode, Escape from Tarkov style game mode, I'm going to say. I like to use that word loosely because nothing can replicate Escape from Tarkov, but with a lot of the challenges and the logos and things we've seen, it's definitely gearing up to be a more easier barrier of entry Tarkov extraction mode type experience. So again, if you're going to cater to the Tarkov crowd, and again, Escape from Tarkov has a huge following. It was beating out peak Warzone on Twitch viewership numbers for a long time on Twitch. So definitely the devs paid attention to that. Warzone was getting beat out viewership wise by Escape from Tarkov for quite a while there. During, I think it was like season 4, 5, and 6 of the Modern Warfare seasons with Warzone. So it was like prime Warzone, and this game was getting beat by Escape from Tarkov. So again, if you're trying to cater to the Tarkov player base or fans who like to watch Tarkov, because Tarkov is only on PC. There's no console experience, and I know there's a lot of console players who would love to play a Escape from Tarkov type game that really replicates that. And it seems like, again, everything we're seeing leaked from Reality UK, Ralph's Valve, Tom Henderson, seems like it's going to be a little bit of an easier, more vanilla version of Tarkov. So if that is the case, obviously it needs to play more like Tarkov in the aspect of slower gameplay mechanics, slower movement, maybe a little bit more recoil for weapons, depending on where they go with the base multiplayer. So the question is, Identity Crisis, the point to all this conversation is, will they be able to tweak each gameplay experience for the crowd that they're trying to attract? Because they're trying to really, like I said, bring in every single FPS fan with something. We have something for you. You like Rainbow Six Siege? We have Hostage Rescue Mode. You like Escape from Tarkov? We have DMZ. You like a Battle Royale? We have Warzone 2. You want the original, typical Call of Duty experience? We have core multiplayer and single player for you. So again, are they going to be able to tweak each of these game types for that crowd? And that's really the question as to where this game will succeed or not. Either they're going to be trying to do way too much and fail, or they'll actually do this right and be able to code this game in a way that they can refine the movement for these modes. They can refine the damage models for weapons on these modes, armor systems, remove perks and things like that from the game when needed for these particular modes, as well as, probably like we've discussed in the past, they should have, at least for some of these modes, a point type system similar to Insurgency Sandstorm. So you can't always build the best meta weapon without pros and cons. And then if we look at DMZ or the Tarkov type mode, that should rely solely on currency, right? If you need to get the money and the funds in order to build your weapons, buy your armor, things like that. So that's going to be the question, where this game really succeeds with Modern Warfare 2, DMZ, Warzone 2. Will it succeed to be this one game that caters to all in their own particular right? Or will it be a game that tries to do too much and fails in doing it? Because currently, if we look at Modern Warfare, obviously Warzone currently has really nothing to do with the original vision of Infinity Ward. I think it's far separated from what the game originally was, but it's gone so far in the opposite direction that they lost a lot of that original fan base that was playing the game. So how are they going to bring them back? How are they going to bring in the Battlefield crowd? How are they going to bring in the Rainbow Six Siege crowd, which again, that game's going on 8 years old. And then the Escape from Tarkov crowd, that doesn't have any console experience. So you have a lot of people that love watching that game and playing that game, especially console players haven't been able to play it. So how are you going to bring them in and give them that type of experience that's without the fast-paced, twitchy, slide canceling, quick switch, dead silence, 360 no-scope type movement systems for some of these modes that if you're catering to that fan base, you're going to lose them immediately if you can't change up the way those game modes play in order to, again, cater that fan base and make it like, not exactly like, but similar to, make it feel the same as the game that you're trying to bring them in from. So that's the question. Is Call of Duty have an identity crisis? Are they trying to do too much, or are they going to succeed? Let me know down below what you guys think. Are they going to be able to do this and pull this off and have a mode for everybody, which will be supported in its own right and evolve throughout the course of these next 2 years of support? Or are they going to try and do too much, and we'll see a lot of these modes kind of fall to the wayside, like we did with Realism in Modern Warfare 2, in Modern Warfare, excuse me. Realism was my favorite mode, and it just kind of fell off the radar, and eventually they removed it from the playlist, and then they buried it somewhere in the menu that you couldn't find unless you knew it was there. You knew exactly what you were looking for to customize your game types that you were searching for. So is that going to happen, or are they going to have dedicated support for all these modes where they can tweak, like I said, damage profiles, armor profiles, movement speeds for all of these different modes? Let me know what you guys think, as well as removing meta weapons. If there's things that are overpowered and perks, they should be able to take them out of the game. And that goes for the core Call of Duty experience as well. I think this meta weapon thing that we've been seeing the past 3 years really needs to stop. It really ruins the game when a new weapon comes out and it's just so broken for 6 months. That's something I don't want to see, especially in a Rainbow Six type game mode or an Escape from Tarkov game mode with DMZ. I don't want to see, oh, new weapon, it's broken as hell, no recoil or anything. So let me know your thoughts down below. Identity crisis, or is Infinity War going to pull this off? Let me know your thoughts down below. Till next time, this is Buffner Gaming, out.